Hi, Tabitha.
Hi, Mary.
It's great to see you. Great to be with you today. I'm excited to get together and kick off our Family Academy.
Me too.
So, as we start our conversation, why don't we introduce ourselves? Tell us about your role in the district.
So, I am the Assistant Director of Special Education, and this is my 8th year working in Steilacoom School District. My students have been, my own children have been students here for 12 years, and I'm really excited to be able to support teachers and families this year.
And I am the social emotional learning specialist for the district. My son graduated from Steilacoom High 2 years ago, and he's off to college this year. I've been working in the district for 5 years, and yeah, I'm super excited about Family Academy, ready to get us going. So let's start with kind of the first question. I know you have a student at home right now. How are you guys handling the stress of back to school?
There's definitely been some stress. And what I've come to realize is that the more information she has, the less stress she feels. So, not being able to predict what something is going to look like can be stressful for anyone. I know that's a stressor for me. We started using Google Keep to create a checklist for her school day. That way, I can see the checklist and where she is throughout the day, even though I can't be at home with her while she's in school. And we practiced a Zoom meeting before classes started. We looked at Google Classroom together, and I just had a conversation with her and asked her if there was anything specific that was making her feel nervous or stressed. So, one of the things was turning her camera on with her new classes. She's in middle school, so she's taking several classes, and she doesn't know many of the students in the class. Some of her classes, she doesn't know any of the students, and so that felt stressful to her. So we talked about how she doesn't have to turn her camera on until she feels that she's ready to do so. And to always make sure the mic is off if she's not trying to talk to the class, so that she's not accidentally being heard when she doesn't want to be. And that she can choose to use the mic and her voice, or she can choose to use the chat to engage with her class. And then another stressor she brought up was, what if the Wi-Fi is not working, or what if for some reason she can't get into the Zoom meeting for one of her classes? And basically, I just told her that that's fine, that's okay, and it's going to happen. And so then you just don't get on the class for that time. And so I've just kind of realized that if I meet her stress or nervousness with calm, even if it's stressful or frustrating to me, it brings her down back down to calm faster. And things have felt, even though I work in the district, things have felt stressful. This is all new to everybody, and things have felt frustrating sometimes. But I just try my best to not let it show. And I'm careful of my reactions to frustrating moments when I'm with her, so that she's not picking up on that, and she can, just manage her reactions to the situations. So, another helpful thing that we've been working on is trying to understand the impact of stress on our brains. And just knowing what's happening up there when we feel stressed has helped a lot too. It helps me, and I've noticed that it's helped her. And I know that this is something that you are an expert on, Mary. So if you can talk a little bit about the science of how the brain reacts to stress.
Okay, sure. One of the things that I often do is use my hand to model the brain. And so I'm going to kind of share the hand model of the brain with everyone. And so if I imagine my fist as the brain, I can think about my wrist, sort of my arm and my wrist, this base of my hand as being the cerebellum and the brain stem. And these parts of my brain are super necessary for the automatic functioning of my brain. So this part of my brain, the cerebellum and the brainstem, this controls things like heartbeat, like breathing, things that have to happen, and I can't be responsible for thinking about them, right? And so if they don't happen, I don't stay alive, and so my brain doesn't need me to think about those consciously, right? And then the thumb, my thumb represents the limbic system or the midbrain, which is sometimes referred to as our reactive brain. So this is where in my brain I'm responding to situations and information, and I'm determining, this part of my brain determines if those situations are threatening and if I might need to fight or flee. So this activation of what we call the fight, flight, or freeze response happens here in our midbrain. If it's not a threatening situation and I can handle it in my prefrontal cortex, which is represented by my folded over fingers here. So the prefrontal cortex, this is the part of my brain where all of my rational thinking happens, all of my organizational skills, my self-regulation skills, all of that is happening here in the prefrontal cortex. And this is also where my problem solving happens, right? So my rational thinking and problem solving. So let's say I'm going through my day and everything is good, and then I experience something stressful, something that feels threatening to me.
Like my first Zoom meeting or a horn blaring outside of my house.
Yeah, so if I experience something that feels threatening, I might do this. Sometimes we call that flip my lid, right? I might flip my lid. And this even happens to adults, right? For example, lots of adults might have this experience when they are going to visit the dentist or when they're asked to do public speaking.
Or recording a video.
For some of us, yeah, this is new for all of us, right? So when a situation feels uncertain or uncomfortable, it can cause us to flip our lid.
And this happens to kids too, and it can happen easier for some of us than we may think. If a student doesn't know the answer in class and is afraid they'll be called on, this might happen. Or even like turning their camera on, like my student at home was concerned about, they can flip their lid.
Yeah. And so sometimes we talk about this as flipping your lid. And another way we talk about it is amygdala hijack, right? Because the amygdala is the part of the brain that controls this response, right? And so when we experience amygdala hijack, look what happens to our prefrontal cortex, those folded up fingers, right? We actually lose access to the problem solving and rational thinking part of our brain when we're experiencing amygdala hijack. See how my fingers, they're not touching the thumb anymore? And that means I'm not able to access my prefrontal cortex and I'm not able to engage my thinking brain. So when we're experiencing amygdala hijack, it's helpful to try some things like deep breathing or maybe even taking a break from the stressful situation. That can allow our brains time to get back online, right? To reconnect and get me access to the full thinking part of my brain. So in our other flipped resources, we've shared some other videos, we've shared some other resources that can also help to explain this. And we're thinking that in our session next week, we're also going to be able to talk more in depth about this and help families to develop ways to practice responding to stressful situations when they occur, and also ways that we can prepare for the stressful situations that might happen.
Thanks, Mary. I am definitely going to have my student watch this today when I get home. So Family Academy is new for our district. It's new to us. Can you explain how it will all work?
Yeah. So what we've done in the district is we've developed a series of 3 sessions related to social emotional learning and 3 other sessions related to technology use. And we chose those concepts or ideas because in our community forums, we heard families share lots of questions about these 2 topics. And so we've created a set of resources for families that they can access before the live sessions. And we hope these resources will offer families helpful information and tips. And then we'll gather together next week to talk some more and to answer any specific questions that people might have.
We're really looking forward to working together as a community and coming together to problem solve together and just learn the best ways to support our students through this time.
It's really exciting. I'm excited for next week. And thanks for joining me today on this conversation.
See you all on Tuesday or Thursday.